I, 25, have bonus step siblings through my papa and his husband and half siblings through my mom and her husband. Background info: my parents never really dated, they were friends in college, and as my papa says, you happen to happen. I spent my first few years jumping between their houses then. When I was 3, my mom had my younger half sister. She was born severely disabled, so they decided it was best to move closer to mom's parents in Chicago so she could have a support system. I stayed with father. By then he was in a long-term relationship with his future husband, Dad. Dad had 2 kids ages 4 and 6 already from a previous relationship. We've all grown up close. My bonus sibs mother passed, and so we grew up together as proper siblings, no jumping houses or splitting weekends. My grandparents on my papa's side are homophobic as hell, they only had one child, my papa. He has always been very clear that he's a proud gay man. They refused to acknowledge that, they disowned him and never spoke to him or wanted anything to do with him for over 20 years. They did however want me, they would send me gifts for my birthday and Christmas. Would call and check up on me. They say that I'm proof that their son chose this ungodly life and he could be a good man if he wanted to. When I became a teen I tried to distance myself from them, but they're extremely influential and I soon learned it was better to play along than put up a fight. When they passed earlier this year, do you know what they left? Everything to me. Which adds up to a few $100 million in assets as they owned several vacation units in several countries. I initially tried to sign it all over to my papa, but he refused it, saying he wanted nothing from them, but that this was a life-changing opportunity for me and I should accept it myself. I then decided to share it with my bonus siblings, so we split the properties evenly between us. I believe that's fair. Well, the Grands were never cruel to my sibs, it was clear they didn't approve of them. Giving their hard-earned 40-year empire to people they hated felt really great in a way. My mom's husband heard of it somehow and called me furious. He says it's disgusting and disgraceful to give to married strangers and not my own flesh and blood. He and my mom have 3 kids now, 2 of whom are disabled and will require lifelong care. Their youngest had an accident and broke his neck when he was young and ended up a paraplegic. He says the money would be crucial to them living a full life, and it's my responsibility as an older sibling to look after them. Besides a few weekends and 1 week every summer, I haven't seen my mother or her family since I was 3. I'm not close to them. My dads were pissed when I told them and they chewed mom's husband out. It became a huge fight and now everyone is mad at everyone, and my mom called me saying that it's up to me, but that I have the opportunity to make a real difference and I'd be cruel not to take it. They are not entitled to your money, period. And you really have no responsibility towards people who were never a big part of your life and didn't seem to make a big effort to be a big part of your life. This whole "it's your responsibility to look after people you had absolutely no say or part in creating" is nonsense. And your mom's husband is a huge idiot for calling your siblings married strangers. They are your siblings and family in every way that actually matters. It's worth considering if you're okay with your disabled half-sib suffering due to your mom's cruelty. Essentially, they're victims of her nonsense as much as you were. I would put money in a long-term medical trust for them that has explicit conditions to ensure none of the money goes to the parents and that they can't pass off their own responsibilities while alive. Hell, don't even tell them about it until it's needed if you want. But your siblings probably will someday desperately need care and they aren't responsible for your idiot mom any more than you are. It would be a kind thing to do, and I think the morally right thing to do, even though it wouldn't necessarily make you an idiot to decline. Not the idiot. This is an inheritance from your father's side of the family. It has nothing to do with your mother who has never been married to him. You're choosing to add your bonus siblings, your father's blended family, to the company you inherited from his parents. As you said, there is no cash. And as others have pointed out, if you gave some to your mother's children, which they have no claim to, they may lose the benefits and government assistance that they will require for the rest of their lives. My boyfriend, 26, and I, 24, have been together for 4 years, and we have been living together for 2 years. He is currently employed and working full-time, and I am unemployed due to COVID. I agreed to take on all the responsibilities for the home, including cooking, cleaning, organizing, but I still lay my own personal bills. Phone, credit cards, etc. The arrangement works for the most part, except for one thing. The cooking. He works full-time plus overtime, so he's literally works almost every day, and most of the time everything is done when he comes home. My boyfriend is very picky and won't eat a lot of stuff. Even when he lived with his mom, he wouldn't always eat what she cooked. This usually results in us ordering out a lot because he won't eat what I cook. Then he blames me because most of the money at home is spent eating out. Recently his brother came over and he made a comment about how he would have more money if we didn't have to order out twice a day every day, if someone would just cook. I didn't say anything but it stung. Which leads us to today. We are moving soon and I have been doing all the packing and cleaning by myself. So today I texted him if he wanted me to cook and he says sure. But I pointed out that I'm tired and it'll probably be something simple. And he said that it's okay and asked me what it was. When I told him what it was, he sent the bar face emoji. And I told him that it genuinely upset me that he won't eat what I make because then he goes and blames me for the amount of money that gets spent on takeout. He just responded and said that he's not doing this today and muted me. I've tried everything including various cooking apps and learning new recipes and buying different ingredients, but most of the time he won't even try it. The only time he does it when it's a really complex recipe that takes me hours, and usually that becomes the only thing he'll want to eat. So he either wants to eat Wendy's and Subway or stuff that takes me 3+ hours to make, which I can't always do since I'm already doing everything else. So, am I the idiot for trying to start a fight with him over this as he claims? Not the idiot. People who can only eat chicken nuggets and french fries or don't even want to try new foods bother me. You're trying to do all you can and he seems to be beyond picky. There's picky and then there are people like your boyfriend. Just cook at home for yourself and let him fend for himself. You need a new boyfriend or he'll just have to be happy with a lifetime of Wendy's and Subway and not complain about money. He needs to be more realistic about home meals that are a little easier to make. Maybe you can experiment cooking together on the weekend to get some recipes that he likes and aren't too onerous. He needs to be involved in the menu planning if he's that picky. Then you need to think about cooking in bulk and freezing. He needs to tell you what he will eat. And no, it shouldn't be something crazy labor intensive. You make a meal, you should be eating the meal. He then has the choice to eat it with you or fend for himself. If he thinks he's going broke, he can get himself to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread and ham and cheese, peanut butter and jam, or whatever else he wants to make with his own 2 hands if your dinner is unacceptable. Some of you might have heard that New Zealand has entered into level 4 lockdown again because of a community outbreak. When the lockdown was announced the other day, I, 42, called my elderly parents, both in their 60s, and invited them to stay with me and my twins, I'm a widow, in my vacation house. It's a beachfront 4-bedroom home in a quiet town, 2 hours from Auckland. My parents were happy with the idea, so I've arranged to pick them up on the way there. While in the car, my mum said that she had mentioned them staying with me throughout the 7-day lockdown to my brother and that he had asked if he and his family, wife and 4 kids, can come too. I told mum I don't think it's a good idea as my brother lives in Auckland and that's where the outbreak started. Also, my house is too small to accommodate 6 more people. When we arrived, my sister-in-law phoned me to say they had just left their house and will be stopping by a supermarket before heading to my house. I told her, as politely as I can, that I can't let them stay with me in my house as I don't have enough room and I want my parents to have a relaxing lockdown experience. She said she will let my brother know and hung up. A few minutes later my brother called me and started shouting and cussing at me, calling me selfish and an idiot and a horrible aunt for not letting his children stay in the beach house during lockdown. He didn't even let me explain myself, so I just hung up on him. I think I might be the idiot here as my brother loaned me some money for the down payment of this vacation house which I had paid him back 2 years ago. Now he's posting things in Facebook and making me look horrible to our relatives. He said I never would have been able to purchase the beach house had he not loaned me money to pay for the down payment. I had money then, but it wasn't enough at the time. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That business negotiation, your brother helping you buy a house, is long over, so it is totally irrelevant to anything. The outbreak started in Auckland where your brother lives. Why would you put yourself, your children, and your parents at risk? He never let you explain. You should text him that information and also add that, although you started to second guess yourself after he called you an idiot, you realized that you had in fact made the right decision. Your parents should have been much smarter about not quasi-inviting your brother and family and then making you the bad guy. If sister-in-law was picking up some items on their way up to the beach house, I can guarantee that your parents were very unclear about the possibility of the whole family staying, and it wasn't their place to imply to your brother that they can likely come. The loan is a non-issue. Your brother loaned you money which is long since paid back. That doesn't make the beach house partly his. Tell your parents, as they'll find out anyway, and make it clear that they need to be a little less solicitous when it comes to your house and guests. This mess is their doing, whether it was intentional or not. You are the idiot, you should have stayed put at home as per ministry guidelines. And if it were such a big deal, share a bubble to support your parents with groceries and daily calls. 5 minutes or 45 minutes doesn't make a difference, a holiday house is not your home. My boyfriend, 24, and I, 22, have been dating for a little over 5 months. We're both fairly private people when it comes to relationships and personal lives, but we recently decided to introduce each other to our families. Last Friday, I invited him to have dinner with my parents, siblings, nieces, and nephews. Everyone liked him and got along great together, except for my sister-in-law, 34. Throughout the entire night, she would barely say a word or even look in our direction. He complimented one of the dishes that she had cooked and she completely ignored him. I'm not very close with her, but she's never acted this way before. Skip to Saturday morning, and I wake up to a long Facebook message from my sister-in-law in which she told me that she had been abused in the past and my boyfriend's appearance resembled that of her abuser. I genuinely felt bad and apologized and asked if we could meet privately and talk. She rejected my offer and told me that she had said all that was needed in her previous message. I really didn't know how to reply, so I apologized again for bringing up any negative feelings from her past. I assumed that she just wanted to get that off of her chest and possibly explain her behavior the previous night, and that was going to be the end of it. Then, my parents announce that they're having a family barbecue this weekend, and my sister-in-law calls and tells my mom that she and my nephews aren't coming if my boyfriend is going to be there. After my mom told me what was going on, I decided to go over to my brother and sister-in-law's house and try to talk with her. It didn't go as I had hoped. She gave me the same ultimatum that she had given my mom and told me that they wouldn't be attending any future events if he was going to be there. I expressed that she was being unfair and that I wouldn't choose in the future. She told me that I'm being insensitive and disrespectful towards her by putting her through this, that I'm being selfish for wanting him around that after she expressed how she feels, and that I'm only 22 and won't even be with him forever, so why am I choosing him over family? I was incredibly upset at this point, and I told her that it's unfair that she's punishing him and me for something that he has no control over, and that she needed to get therapy and work on her personal issues, instead projecting them onto someone who has nothing to do with her past. She was furious and told me to leave. Since then, she's blocked me on everything. She's upset with my parents for refusing to take sides and for not uninviting me and my boyfriend to the barbecue. She's messaged both of my younger sisters, one of them being only 15, and told them that I treated her badly and escalated the situation. My brother, her husband, wants no part of it and refuses to get involved. Am I the idiot? Honestly, I probably won't go to the barbecue, but I have no idea how to proceed. Not the idiot. Trauma and past abuse can really mess a person up, so I completely empathize with your sister-in-law and her situation. It must be hard to be reminded of abuse. However, this is not an excuse to act like this. She is pissed that people aren't forming sides and is making a huge deal by messaging your other family members, especially telling you that you won't be with him forever, so just give up now essentially. You can't put your life on hold for her trauma, and she also can't put her life on hold and expect everybody to cater for her forever, as awful as that may sound. Not the idiot. Your brother is the idiot. This is for him to fix. He needs to be insisting his wife get therapy and insisting that his children not be denied extended family because someone looks like someone else. She is going no contact with the family over something that another person did, and your boyfriend just looks like him. You also need to contact every family member one at a time and tell them what is truly going on so that she cannot put a wedge in the family. Your sister-in-law is being selfish. Her disliking of your boyfriend should not dictate whether others spend time with him, especially since it is the appearance, something he cannot change, not personality, that she has a problem with. I'd be able to sympathize with her more if she chose to avoid him, but didn't care if others didn't. The ultimatum only makes her seem controlling and attention-seeking. I, 28, love reading. About 3 times a year I go on reading vacations. I usually pick a city I've never been to and spend a week just reading in different coffee shops. I started doing this during my university breaks and it just stuck. About once every 2 years I'll go on a big trip to another country to do this all, though I also sightsee on these trips. My trip to Paris last year had to be cancelled and I've rescheduled it for next year. My sister, 26, who lives with my parents heard me talking to my mom about the trip over the phone and called me later. She basically laid into me about how I wouldn't let her move in with me, but I could afford to go on all these expensive vacations. About 6 months ago my sister wanted to move in with me because she had gotten pregnant and couldn't afford rent and a baby. I told her no, because I didn't really have the room to house her and I don't want to have a newborn in my house. I work from home and just knowing my sister I would be doing some child care. I'm child-free and have no desire to look after someone else's baby. She's now crying to my parents about how I should give her money at least because I can clearly afford it. They think I'm an asshole for not helping her out at all, and so does most of the family. Am I the idiot for going on reading vacations instead of helping my sister out? Not the idiot. I am all for helping family out. My uncle lived with me for 3 months while house hunting. It was great having him around and my husband and him bonded. The thing is, I knew I wasn't being taken advantage. My uncle could easily afford another home, he just needed time to look. He would never take advantage of me. I know some other family members who absolutely would have taken advantage of that situation. You know your sister. You know she would take advantage of your kindness. So you set boundaries. You are not the asshole for living life within your means. It sounds like she is upset because she is starting to realize that her life is going to drastically change. That's on her, not you. She can ask for help within reason. But it is stupid and selfish of her to expect everyone around her to rearrange their life for her decisions. Not the idiot. You are not your sister's responsibility. Your sister having a baby is not your responsibility also. I can totally see her abusing you as childcare if you were to let her into your home. You have boundaries, they should respect them. Is she not content with your parents or are they trying to get her to move out and that is why she resorted to asking you? Either way, you're not her keeper. First of all, I love the idea of these reading vacations. Second, you chose your lifestyle and this doesn't involve roommates or babysitting your sister's kid. You're not obligated to help just because she's your sister, and you're certainly not obligated to share your apartment with her or give her the money you save for your trips. If she wanted a small loan, that's another thing, but again you're not obligated.